today, as we saw some of those flooding rains across portions of the foothills as well as the mountains. Now seeing some of that rainfall pushing into the heart of the valley as well, and that's causing some issues on the roadways, and we'll take a look at that here in just a moment. But right now, that first alert day, once again, Wednesday right on through the Friday time frame. So I wanted to go ahead and give you that heads up that we could be dealing with some heavy rainfall through the afternoon and the evening. So what we're tracking between now and Friday, well, today is rounds of heavy downpours. We'll get some breaks that allow the water to go down, but then also we're tracking more rain as we head Thursday into Friday, now bumping up those rain chances. We're working on that forecast behind the scenes for you right now. Me and Spencer, of course, are breaking that down, and we'll have that coming up on WVLT News at 3:30. So make sure to tune in there as well. Once again, if you're just joining us, kind of breaking down what we're expecting and experiencing over the course of the next couple of days. If you have any questions, would love to answer those for you in the comments section. But right now, we are tracking some heavy rainfall. Here's a look at the radar and cloud track showing you that surge of moisture. It moved up through portions of Alabama and Georgia earlier today, now kind of lifting off towards the north and east. And I do think we'll see at least a little bit of a breakout there, but as we zoom in a little tighter, we've got that light to moderate rainfall basically right over us right now. Several flash flood warnings out until 4:30 tonight. One goes out until 3:15. We'll break that down for you. You can see that up near Sneedville and then back down into portions of Blount and Sevier counties as well. There's a couple of river warnings as well out in Cott County for the French Broad as well as the Pigeon River there, as it is expected to grow with all of this rainfall that we're seeing. So right now, here's a live look at radar showing you some of that light to moderate rainfall. Jamestown to Oneida to Stearns to Williamsburg. Haven't seen any issues out there in terms of flooding from these areas, as it's been fairly dry today. More so areas along closer to the foothills and the mountains. But you see La Follette to Middlesboro to Maynardville getting in on that light to moderate rainfall right now. Rogersville, there's that flash flood warning. This goes out for about another 30 minutes until 3:15 this afternoon. Hancock, Hawkins, Scott, and Wise County there as it's sliding up into Virginia. You can see Morristown, you're okay right now, outside of some of those heavier downpours, as well as some rumbles of thunder and lightning that we're seeing. Back towards Greenville as well. Now we'll slide a little bit farther to the south. There's two flash flood warnings here. The one that's highlighted for Blount and Monroe counties goes until 3:15, but you'll see that green polygon just to the east of that one. That one includes areas like Cades Cove towards Look Rock, as well as back into western portions of Sevier County. That one goes until 4:15, and that is because areas in this location have picked up anywhere between, say, 2 to maybe as much as 4 inches of rain with locally higher amounts. So if you are seeing some flooding, at least where you live in this area, feel free to send those in to us. We'd love to get that information. That way we can pass that along to you. So with that being said, we do have a flood watch out from now until Friday. This is in that green area. So if you live in Crossville, Jamestown, as well as up portions of Monticello, Williamsburg, and Harlan, you're not technically under that flood watch right now, but it is something that we'll monitor very closely for you as we head throughout the course of the rest of this afternoon. So what are we looking at? Well, this is the latest. It is now Hurricane Helene. Winds are around 80 miles per hour, gusts to 100 miles per hour. So it's strengthening pretty rapidly, and what we're expecting is it to undergo rapid intensification. The Gulf waters are extremely warm right now and extremely deep over in the eastern part of the Gulf. So this is going to have a lot of energy that it can kind of tap into. I see a couple of questions from Bradley. Will there be any tornadoes tonight? Bradley, I don't anticipate it. There is a low risk that we could see a few stronger storms, but I think that risk is quickly beginning to wane. Reason being is because of the air mass that we're seeing kind of moving in right now. Yes, there could be some thunder, some lightning, maybe some gusty winds and heavy rainfall, but the severe threat is beginning to diminish just a little bit. See, Stacy asks, when will it stop? It's not really going to stop until we head closer to the weekend. Now, there will be breaks in between all the heavy rainfall that we're seeing right now, but the more persistent rainfall is going to continue at least through Friday. Let's see, Darlene, thank you for all the updates. No problem, Darlene. Any chance of tornadoes on Friday? Thomas, that's a good question. Meteorologist Ben Kathy and I were talking about that, and meteorologist Spencer Denton and I will be kind of discussing that through the evening. Can't rule out a low risk for tornadoes on Friday, especially if we stay on the eastern side of the storm. I think the better threat of that is probably going to be into eastern North Carolina. Our threat mainly is going to be some very gusty winds as well as very heavy rainfall. So something about that. Let's see. What about Lenoir City? I see several questions about that. We'll get to that as well as the Quarrenton and Fountain City, Stacy. Any flooding going on towards Wallen? Neva, that, hopefully I pronounced your name correct. If I didn't, I do apologize. There is a flood warning out for Wallen, but we're not seeing any issues, at least as of now. At least I have not gotten any reports, but if you know of any, please send those to us. So with that being said, here comes Helene as we head into Thursday evening. So expected to make landfall around the Big Bend region of Florida as a major hurricane. Winds of 120 25 miles per hour. You'll see it kind of lifting off to the north, and it picks up speed quickly as it's going to be absorbed by an area of low pressure. It's called a cutoff low, and it's going to do a little bit of a dance around one another. It's called the Fujiwara effect, and what that is basically going to do is kind of allow it to stay in the vicinity, and what that will end up doing is creating some heavy downpours at times. So let's see. I see a lot of questions. Will it impact certain areas? I'm going to get to that here in just a moment. I do want to go ahead and caution you, though, if you're heading out and you're watching from work, the evening commute is going to be pretty messy. Hopefully the rainfall kind of relaxes a little bit and gets out of here, but we're definitely going to see some wet roadways. Take it slow. In fact, here's a live look at one of our TDOT SmartWay cameras, and you can see a jackknife tractor trailer. If you joined us on WVLT News at noon, we talked about a wreck in this exact same location. Now, it was a little bit lower there. You can actually see some of the light poles and things that are kind of knocked down behind that jackknife tractor trailer right now, but it does have I-40 East pretty much at a crawl right now. David, where is that exactly on I-40? So that is between Asheville Highway and I-640. So if you're traveling east between Asheville Highway and I-640, you are dealing with this big slowdown right now. Let's see. Thomas says flooding ongoing in Walden's Creek area of Sevier County. Thank you for that report, Thomas. We will look into that and hopefully have some updated information for you coming up at 3:30 or even in the later shows. So we're going to work on getting that for you. A lot of rain and some thunder here right now. Thank you, Bradley, for that report as well. I'm seeing a lot of questions, and we have a wind advisory for Thursday evening through Friday. So, Haley, that is actually a good point, and that's what I'm going to talk about here in just a few moments. It's actually a high wind watch, which is a little bit more impressive than a wind advisory in the sense that we're expecting some tropical storm force gust at times, and I'll break that down for you here in a moment. That's a great point that you brought up about the wind advisory. So it's not only rainfall, but also the aspect of some damaging wind gusts that could potentially bring down some trees, cause some power outages. Not out of the question. So here's the latest computer model run. This is the one that's kind of picking up on things, doing at least the best, at least right now. In fact, we did just get a new flash flood warning, and let me kind of bring that up for you. This is going to be for Greene and Cott counties, and at the end I'll kind of go back to it and show you what we're expecting at the moment. So that is a new flash flood warning that is going to come out, and I'll tell you about that here in just a moment. But you can see the heavy rainfall kind of slides off to the north and east with time. I do think it kind of slows down a little bit for us through the late evening hours, and then we may see another surgence of moisture kind of coming up from the south. Now, the greatest risk for flooding today is actually going to be on the North Carolina side of the mountains, and that's where I think we could see the biggest concern, at least for mudslides and rock slides, although we can't rule those out on the Tennessee side as well, especially as we head later on in the week. So through the rest of this evening, you can still see that light to moderate rainfall kind of pushing in. There'll be breaks, especially the farther west you live. Farther east, we have to deal with those heavier downpours from time to time as well. So this is through the rest of this evening. How much rainfall are we anticipating? You can see, generally speaking, maybe an additional 1 to 2 inches of rain. Heavier amounts up there towards the Smokies and farther south. Lighter amounts as you head back towards the plateau. So that is something that we'll keep a very close watch on for now. Now that high wind watch, this is what we're looking at. So you can see that brown shading, that is a high wind watch. Hard to believe, but there is a tropical storm watch on the North Carolina side of the mountains. And what this is going to mean for us here in the valley is winds of 20 to 30 miles per hour sustained, gusts potentially as high as 50 miles per hour. For our mountain communities down into the higher elevations of the foothills, 30 to 40 mile per hour sustained winds, gusts to 70. And that's as Helene kind of moves over our area. Once again, it'll be weakening, still potentially tropical storm, tropical depression status as it moves a little bit closer. So that's why we'll keep a very close watch on that right now. See, Stacy says everyone needs to go safe, and that's absolutely right. Stacy, you just need to take it slow out there. We'll all get to the same destination. May take you a little bit longer today due to the rainfall, but that is what we're watching. So as we kind of shift our attention from today to tomorrow, here's what we're looking at. As you're heading off out the door to work and school tomorrow, I do think there could be some showers around. I think the heaviest of rain actually kind of suppresses a little bit farther to the east. That's good news, but don't let your guard down. Keep the umbrella, the rain jacket with you, because watch what happens as we head through the evening. Watch it kind of all start to pivot back a little bit farther to the north and the west. And what that is because the outer bands of what is going to be Helene is actually making its way closer to Florida and kind of driving everything back westward with it. So that's why I think the heaviest of rainfall probably comes Thursday night into Friday morning. So hopefully most of the heaviest, or at least the worst of the weather, is while we're sleeping. Now, once again, could cause some power outages and could cause some issues as we head forward in time, but you can see that widespread rain kind of moving in as we head into your Friday morning. How much rainfall are we talking about tomorrow combined into Friday? Well, this is going all the way through Thursday night. Could pick up easily another 3 inches of rain. Let's tack on another inch or so as we head into Friday evening. We'll let the first alert day go as we head late Friday, and then by the time it's all said and done, generally speaking, maybe 2 to 4 inches of rain, of additional rainfall on the way for us, with some locally higher amounts, especially up towards the foothills and the mountains. See, Gail says Lenore City isn't on your map. Gail, we're going to basically kind of couple that in 2 to 4 inches of rain for you there as well. Maybe some higher amounts if we see some of that banding over the same area, and those wind gusts still looking to be anywhere between, say, 25 to 30 miles per hour at times, maybe as high as 50. So hopefully that answers your question. Helene could be to Atlanta Metro as Hugo was to Charlotte. Haley, yeah, we don't usually like to compare storms, but down towards Atlanta, definitely going to be pretty strong and pretty impressive, and that's why they do have a tropical storm watch out, at least at the moment there. Thank you for all taking the time to do this. No problem, Bradley, at all. I'm trying to read through all your questions. So hopefully that kind of gives you an idea of what we're expecting. Here's a look at the future wind gusts. This is tomorrow. We still could see some gusts, maybe upwards of 20 to 25 miles per hour at times, especially across the higher elevations of the mountains. But really the big wind threat isn't going to come until we head closer to, say, that Friday time frame when Helene gets a little bit closer to our area. So just going to double check, make sure everything is doing well. Let's see here. And I'm also conversing with the National Weather Service to get the latest information on that tornado for you as well. So here's a look at the live radar for you. You can see that now we do have a new flash flood warning. Let me kind of pop that up for you and show you where we are looking at in terms of that flash flood warning that we have at the moment. So this is a new flash flood warning that is coming out. You can see for Greene, Cock, Sullivan, and Washington counties. So Sullivan and Washington obviously out of our area, but this is going to go until 7 o'clock tonight because the threat of heavy rainfall is going to be in that same area. What time will the worst of the winds be Friday? Thomas, that looks to be more so early Friday morning into the early afternoon time frame that we're looking at. I'm actually going to see what Anthony Cavalucci has said. So that is the first tornado, the tornado that we reported in Hancock County. That is the first one here in East Tennessee in September. There's been 14 other ones in September in Tennessee since 1950, but those have not been across East Tennessee. So that is something to kind of keep in mind of as well. That was an EF1 path length of about 6 miles, path width coming up at about 250. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get ready. I'm going to go meet up with meteorologist Spencer Denton. We're going to kind of break down what we're going to have going on through the rest of this evening. We'll be on air starting on WVLT News at 3:30 going through this evening. And, of course, we do have flash flood warnings out there. You can find those in the WVLT First Alert Weather app. Make sure to have that. I can't stress that enough. You can set it to follow your location. I went over into North Carolina for some family earlier this week. Had it set with me, had a severe thunderstorm warning, popped up beautifully, and kind of gave you that first alert. So if you have it set to follow you, which I do now, you'll get those flash flood warnings. You'll get the high wind watch alerts as well. And, of course, if lightning or heavy rain is detected in your area, you'll also see that. So with that being said, we're going to continue to keep a close watch on it. There's another reason to kind of cut on and give you an alert. We'll do so, but we'll be on starting live on WVLT News at 3:30. Here's a live look at the radar right now. Still some light to moderate rainfall. Hopefully a little bit of a break coming up over the next hour for that evening commute. But we are seeing some accidents on the roadways. You can see that right here on the TDOT Smartway. This is I-40 eastbound. This is looking between Asheville Highway and I-640. So take it slow out there. I promise you we'll all get to the same destination that we're trying to get to. But just take it slow. There's some ponding on the roadway.